Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Myers, and today I want to take you on a journey to Mount Sinai. I want to retrace the steps of the Exodus according to the Bible, and the route of the Exodus out of Egypt all the way to Sinai, and we want to take a look at that. And I took this journey almost 20 years ago, and it was very interesting, and I want to share my journey with you, and we're going to follow along in the what the Hebrew Bible would say for these different words, and the Egyptian meanings of some of these words, so we can get the as close as possible to retracing the steps of the Exodus. First of all, how did they get down into Egypt? And if we look at Genesis, it tells us about Joseph was sold as a slave and then taken down into Egypt, where he rose to power. And Jacob and his whole family then moved down to Egypt. And they have found a number of scarab seals with the name Jacob Hur on it in Egypt, and also around Mount Carmel and in Israel. And this may be referring to the Jacob, or where the legend of the Jacob comes from, is Jacob Hur mentioned on these scarabs. Now, the Hur would most likely translate into El, Jacob El. And the Theological Dictionary of the Old Testament has a very good article about this. And so this may be a connection to the Jacob of the Bible. There's a very interesting drawing at Beni Hassan in Egypt of Asiatics coming into Egypt to trade, I think it's coal, eyeshadow. And this is very similar to Joseph's brothers coming down to Egypt to buy foods. So it'd be something similar to this. And this is around 1890 BC in a tomb there in Egypt. Now it says there was 37 of them, and I guess you have to know how to count here. Let me see if I can get it, my marker here. Here you can see what looks like an upside down U is the number 10, and then you have two ones, so this would be 12. Here you have two of them, that'd be 23. Then down here I have a big swirl, that would be 100. So over here you'd have four of them, 450. So this is how they would count in Egypt. Here's a close-up of it here, and here you have the numbers right here. You have three upside down U's, that's 30. Then you have 5, 1, 6, 7, so there's 37 of them. And here it tells them they're the Amu, or Asiatics, that have come to Egypt. And here's the leader, Abishai, down here. And you have Egyptian leading them, and here's an Egyptian scribe writing everything down. And some think this is the Israelites, but a lot of others doubt that this is the Israelites. They're just coming down to trade. Now it says that Jacob's family dwell in the Nile, the Goshen area, for many years, and scholars debate over the exact amount of time. It says 400 years, 430 years in the Masoretic text, the Hebrew Bible, and then others it just says 215 years or less, 215 coming from the Septuagint. And some say the 400 years starts with Isaac, others say from Jacob. This would be from the Talmud. So there's a lot of debate about how many years they spent in Egypt. We weren't allowed to go into Goshen here, where the Israelites are said to have dwelt. You had to get special permission. I was with a group here and just took a picture out the window of what part of what Goshen would have looked like. There's a near Wadi Timelot, and very fertile land at the present time. Now Jacob and Joseph and the Israelites would have seen the pyramids of Egypt. You have the step pyramid on the left, and then you have part of the Great Pyramid. This would be the second one. And then you have the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx down at the very right. These would all have been built way before the time of Jacob and Joseph. In Exodus 1:8, it says, "There rose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph." And there's a lot of debate about this. Who was this king? And I won't go into that detail about that, but I hope to in another video to go into depth about it. If you want to know about that beforehand, I have a book called The Exodus from Egypt that you can buy or you can download for free on academia.edu. So you can go to that book and it'll give you a lot more details, and I'll have a video about that. But we just want to concentrate on the Exodus route from Egypt. In Exodus 1:11, it says, "Therefore they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses." And we want to take a look at what Pithom really means, like House of Adam, and Ramses, the famous Ramses the Great. And we want to look at what these cities may have been. Now, scholars think that the Ramses would refer to Arvarus, an update, the Hyksos capital of Egypt, located at the modern site of Tel El Daba in the northeast region of the Nile Delta. And then later it's silted up, and then Ramses moved it across where there was water still, one of the branches of the Nile still flowing. So this is ChatGPT's rendering of what Arvarus may have looked like back then. And scholars think that Pithom may be, today it was called Tel Ritaba. And if you want to see this, some of the scholars, this is probably one of the best books there, Ancient Israel and Sinai by James Hoffmeier. And he goes into much more detail than I will be. And it's a great book following the route of the Exodus. There's not much to see here. There's some excavation. You can still see what's left of it, but really not much to see, but at least I was there. Here's a close-up of the mud bricks that were there. And in Exodus chapter 5, verse 7, it says, "Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves." And some have mistakenly taken this to mean that they had to make bricks without straw. Well, you're not going to make very good bricks without straw. But it's saying that they had to go out and gather the straw for themselves to make the bricks. And people were traveling all over Egypt trying to find bricks not made with straw. Well, that's not what it means here. It means they had to go gather the straw and make the bricks. Then in Exodus 12 it says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses, that'd be Arvris, to Sukkoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. So a huge group. And a number of scholars today think that Sukkoth, that was mentioned, that they traveled to, is Tel Masuta, or Maskuta. It's pronounced or spelled a number of different ways here. But this is where they traveled to next from Arvris or Ramses. And there's not much to see here. Excavations have dug up Yehuda vessels, which gets its name from Judah, or the Jews, that they label that was from the Jews, but they label it that. Here you can see some of the stones still remaining. There was one well still left there, and I thought, well, maybe that's the well of the souls. But just one well there. In Exodus 13:17 it says, God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines. Let's take a look at a map so we can see more about that. So the way of the Philistines from Egypt, here there's Migdol, and then they travel across here to the end point of Gaza, and it's called the way of the Philistines, but in ancient Egypt it's called the way of Horus, and they would build forts every day's journey. So there's a number of forts along here, so they could stop and get water, and the animals fed and get water all the way from Egypt, and this was called the way of the Philistines, but called the way of Horus in ancient Egypt. In Exodus 13:20-21 it says, and they took took their journey. I guess I can't spell too well here. And they took their journey from Sukkoth and encamped in Etham, in the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. So I think they came here to Lake Timshah, and it looked like there was no way to get across here. And so God has them turn, and we want to take a look at that verse. In Exodus 14:1, verse 1 and 2, it says, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel that they turn and encamp before Pithharoth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon, before ye shall encamp by the sea. And so I want to there's three key places here that are mentioned, and we want to take a look at where these probably are. The word Migdol here means tower, or fort. These three places are mentioned in Exodus 14:2, where the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea, or Reed Sea as it is in the Hebrew, Pithharoth, Migdol, and Baal-zephon. The first two places we have a good idea where they are located. Migdol meaning tower in Hebrew from the semantic loan word MKTR, meaning fort in Egyptian. Hoffmeier identifies it with Migdol of Men-Mat-Re, Seti the First. This is the third fort named on the Horus way to Gaza, And this is probably, which is marked T78. This Migdal is depicted in the hind legs and tail of Seti I's chariot horse at Karnak. So we want to go to Karnak and look at that. Here we're at Karnak, and this is the back part of it. Usually when you're going through there, it would be on the outside, left outside, that you have to go around to see these of Seti I. And he's in his chariot here, and the horse, and down here is where it mentions Migdal. And I have a book, this is my other book here, Karnak Temple and the Bible, and it has pictures of this and other pictures of how the different scenes and places there at Karnak relate to the Bible. And I'll put a link how you can get that as well down below. And we want to look at this here is the canal, and he's coming from the east into Egypt here. So this would be Sinai, and he's coming and has to cross over this river or canal here, and we want to take a closer look at that. Here's a closer view, and this is the canal here. You can see crocodiles and fish, other crocodiles here in the water, and I guess maybe that would prevent people from trying to swimming and sneak into Egypt. And then you have some buildings here, some more over here, guarding the way into Egypt. And so he's bringing, I think it's the Sashu prisoners back into Egypt. If we look at the map here, Migdal, so they're like trying to pass through here, the Migdal, the tower, and then they'll be coming down here to the Bitter Lakes, and we'll look at that later. Just ignore some of this. The ancient Middle Ages, they would see the crossing of the Red Sea here, and others see the crossing down here or here. And I'll look at that in another a video about the different crossings and why this one is the best of coming down through Mount Sinai this way. As I said before, the Red Sea in the Hebrew is Reed Sea. And here we are up near where the Migdal is, I was showing you, just above Baal Lake. And here we can see some of the water still there and lots of reeds. So it's a good name for it. And this was the part where the ancient Egyptians would call the Reed Sea, just the north of the Bala Lake. And I brought my rod here to try to part the Red Sea or the Reed Sea, but I wasn't able to do it. But this is my younger self almost 20 years ago. I mentioned Bala Lake before, and this region just above the lake where most likely was the crossing. The Israelites crossed over to the Sinai. But there would have been a lot more water back then, and it's because of the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal would have drained a lot of this water from the Bala Lake region into the canal here when that was built. Exodus 15:22 says, "So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days into the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of the was called Marah, and Marah means bitter." Look at the map again. Here we have the wilderness of Shur. Now, when I was young, I thought wilderness meant lots of trees and forests and jungle, but the wilderness here is just nothing but sand, desert area. And so they're coming down here to the bitter lakes, and this is because of the waters here of the Red Sea come up through here, which is salt water. And so it's right now it's trapped in there, but they still the water can get out and come in. But it was bitter. So along here is where we have Marah, where the water was bitter. Now here's a view when you cross the reed seed there, what the wilderness of Shur or the desert of Shur looks like. Here's a view of the bitter lakes in the background there, a huge lake, and there's some huge ships on it there. These are the bitter lakes because it's seawater, salt water. And again there in Exodus 15:23, "And when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. And therefore the name of it was called Marah," meaning bitter. And Marah is most likely today called Bit El Murrah. Here again, you can see the bitter lakes here, and we think right down here, somewhere along here, there's a place right here called Bur El Murrah. And some think this is the place that's mentioned in the Bible as Marah. And in Exodus 15, verse 27, it says, "And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters." So 70, that means 70 palm trees and 12 wells. And I think most likely this is referring to Urim Musa today. Urim meaning springs, and Musa referring to Moses. The springs or wells of Moses. Now this you have to look closely, but you can see it says the fountains of Moses, or be the springs or wells of Moses. And so let's take a closer look at that. I think this is Elim because of all the wells and palm trees. On the left there you have some of the dwellings where the Bedouins will live, and out in the distance you can see the Red Sea. And there's more palm trees here. I didn't try to count if there was 70 of them, but there was a number of them there. And then there was also 12 wells. Here is one of the wells. I saw a number of them, at least 10 I think, but I didn't have time to count all the different, try to find all the different wells there, but there was a number of wells. And all along the Sinai there, where I went, this is the only place where you could find a number of wells, and this are artesian wells. So nice, clean water. Here's another well. Here's one well that still had water in it, though I don't think I would want to try to drink it unless it was purified. In Exodus 16:1 it says, "And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, and on the 15th day of the second month after their departing out of the land of Egypt." So now they're going into the wilderness of Sin. In Numbers 33:10, it gives us another stopping point. Numbers, the whole chapter of Numbers, verse 33, chapters 33, lists the whole route of the Exodus. And that's an easy way to follow along in Numbers 33. Verse 10, it says, "And they removed from Elim and encamped by the Red Sea." Here I have a satellite map, courtesy of NASA, where we can see things a little bit better in perspective. So we have here, they came here where Sukkoth, it's probably the Wadi Tumalat here, and then they turned and went up here, Migdal up here, then they're coming down here. Here's the Bitter lakes here, and then you'd have Elim, and then the wilderness of Sin, and then right here, these big mountains here, Sinai, they come right up to the sea, and so this is probably where they camped, right by the sea here. It's where the mountains come right up to it, and then there's different wadis that go into the interior and to Mount Sinai here. And a wadi is just a dried out riverbed, but they would use these like we would use roads. That would be their roads in ancient times, these wadis. But if it rained, then all the water would come down through, rushing down through these wadis. But it made a nice roads to follow through the mountainous area, which was also where they would do mining. The Egyptians would go on expeditions and mine here turquoise and copper in all this darker area that you see here. Here's where the mountains come right to the sea, and you can barely see the sea here. Let's see if I can try to point to it here. It's faintly, you can see the sea here and some of the trees there, and the mountains come right down there to the sea, and that's where they would be camping. Here's one view of the wilderness of Sin, very rugged desert area. So what they would do is they would travel from oasis to oasis. They needed water for the animals, and so they would the route would be along and stopping at each oasis so they can get water and food for the animals. Here's another view of the desert condition and some of the rocks and layers of them there. The next stopping point that's mentioned is Dofka in Numbers 33:12. And here is what we think is Dofka. Here's another one of my books, The Gemstones of Aaron's Breastplate and the Urim and Thummim. Make sure you get the revised one. And the fourth stone is turquoise from Nopek, the Egyptian word We think that's where it comes from. And in Israel's journey across Sinai, they stopped at Dothan, which seems to be a garbled form of the Egyptian word for mountain of turquoise, according to Hoffmeier and Cooper. And I think I showed you his book here. I have it. I'll put it information down below where you get all the information here. And then the other one by Cooper. Well, this is his book here, and it's thick and costs a lot of money. But he has a great article, the earliest mention of the place name of Sinai. The first mention of it, and in the journeys of Ketri. And I hope to do that in the next video about the different place names and crossings of the Red Sea, where it might be, and how this shows that Sinai meant the Sinai we meant today down around the Mount Sinai. And so there's some more information here. You can see these books. And I have Aaron's breastplate here. I make one similar to this, and here's the fourth one. It's archaic Hebrew here, and you start on the right. They read backwards from what we write and read. And so you have the 12 tribes, and then you come back this way, and then this is the last one here. I know some people get upset. Why are you putting these all in the wrong places? Well, you have to read Hebrew and know Hebrew to know which way to put them. Then this probably is referring to Wadi Maghara, and we'll see pictures of that, and Sirbet El Kadem, where they mine the turquoise. So from this wadi and from Sirbet, they would mine the turquoise that you can see a picture of on the left there. This also confirms that the route of the Exodus was across the Sinai, not in Saudi Arabia. And a number of new translations now use the word turquoise for nopek in the Hebrew. And I'm glad they're doing that. Here the sun was just right, where it really accents these intrusions here, dikes of different minerals. So they would mine in these different dikes for turquoise and copper. And so this gives you an idea. Picture I just took out the window in the bus going by here, and it just happens to really show these different seams in the rocks where they would get their turquoise, which was a very important to them. It was like the sky made of turquoise. In ancient times, they thought that there was different rocks that the heavens were made out of, and one was the sky, the daylight sky, turquoise, and the night sky was lapis lazuli. Here is Wadi Maghara, the beginning of it, and so you would travel up through the wadi there, mountains on the sides, to get to the turquoise. And there's many some monuments, a lot of inscriptions there in the wadi. Here you can see one inscription that was drawn there at the Wadi Maghara. And this, I think, may be also another alternative route to what may be the real Mount Sinai. We've been following the traditional road, but here I think it's where it splits, and you can go up here where they would go to Kirbit El Kadem. That may have been the original Mount Sinai. Here we have another drawing by David Knight, David Roberts. And here we have Kirbit El Kadem, the ruins of it. And some think that this may be the original one, Mount Sinai, and then Mount Horeb over here. Because these date back to the time of the Exodus, it was a temple to Hathor, who is depicted as a cow, and this may be referring to the golden calf that they worshipped. So this was a big place of worship there, and where they mined turquoise. And they also found inscriptions in proto-Sinaitic inscriptions, which would be like proto-Hebrew, found by Flanders Petrie himself. Here we have some pictures of Hathor, the Egyptian goddess. You can see her face on the right, but also she was depicted as a cow. And this may be what the golden calf looked like, and who they worshiped there on Mount Sinai, which is condemned, or I should say Kirbit El Kadem, which some think may be the original Mount Sinai. Here's an actual picture of the ruins of the Temple of Hathor. And some think these broken tablets and broken pottery give archaeological evidence that there were ancient Hebrews here at Kirbit El Kadem. Here we get another view looking off from the top here, where the Temple of Hathor was built. Some of the more of the ruins here. But this may be a good candidate for the original Mount Sinai because of the archaeological evidence here that there and worship of Hathor, the cow or calf god. Here we have ChatGPT making an image of what the Temple of Hathor would have looked like back then during the Middle Kingdom area here. A very big and prominent temple there on Kirbit El Kadem. I'm returning now to the oasis here at the beginning of Wadi Meghara, because that is one route going to what some think may be the real Mount Sinai. But we want to continue down the Sinai Peninsula here to the traditional view of where Mount Sinai is. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of sin, and after their journeys, according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? in Exodus chapter 17, verses 1 and 2. And here's where some scholars think Rephidim is an oasis. And here we have a Wadi Firan, which is the longest wadi there, and it goes a long ways here. And so we're turning down this wadi to get to Mount Sinai down here, and they come to Rephidim. Then in Exodus chapter 17 it says, and then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass that when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, or held up his hands, and the one on the one side and one on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomforted the Amalekite and his people with the edge of the sword. So Amalekites, they were defeated because of Moses holding up the rod. Here's another view of the valley there of Rephidim, with a number of palm trees. And so I went up to the mountain. I didn't climb all the way up, maybe about halfway up, so I could be like Moses here. So I used the rod again and held it up for not a very long time, though, to be like Moses, where he would have stood up further up the mountain on the top. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. So now we come to Sinai. We want to take a look at our old map. So down here is Mount Sinai. Now, what we did when we got to Mount Sinai, they would wake us up. They woke us up at like midnight, and by 1 a.m. start climbing the mountain of Mount Sinai. So in the middle of the night, they had it lit with torches along the way. You climbed up Mount Sinai. Now, they made the path smooth, but some of it was kind of steep. And it took several hours, like 4 hours, to slowly climb to the top of Mount Sinai so you could be there for the sunrise. Here I'm at the top of Mount Sinai, just as the sun breaks over the horizon. And this is where Moses met with God and received the 10 Commandments. Once the sun came up, you can get some spectacular views on the top of Mount Sinai. Here's another view from the top here. I should say at the very top is a little chapel, I guess supposedly marking the spot where Moses met God. And the way the sun was, the mountains could take on sort of different colors with the sun coming up. Then it was a long way back down, but it was a lot easier because we were going downhill instead of uphill. But you could see the cliffs here as we went back down. When you get near the bottom, you can see St. Catherine's Monastery, which was built between 548 and 565 AD by the order of Justinian I. And this is the world's oldest continuous inhabited Christian monastery. And it's right at the bottom of Mount Sinai. When you go inside the monastery, there's a bush that they claim is the burning bush. That I guess it's been there for hundreds of years. And it's called the Holy Ramble or Sinai Ramble that grows there. And they claim this is the burning bush of Moses. Now, in the Middle Ages, the only way you could get into St. Catherine's Monastery was by an elevator, so robbers couldn't break in, and so the Muslims couldn't break in. And so you have like a trap door there, and they would let down a rope and pull you up into the monastery. Then over here on the right is a document supposedly written by Muhammad, telling the Muslims that this is a peace treaty, that you don't bother the Christians here, with his handprint right on it, that this is definitely from Muhammad. Of course, scholars don't think, they think this is just a forgery, but that the monks made it up so the Muslims wouldn't bother them and try to rob them. Here we have the tower looking up at the mountain. This would be Mount Horeb, they think, in the background, and then Mount Sinai would be to the left more, from inside the monastery. Now, there was something very weird and strange in the monastery. There was one room just filled with skulls of the monks. And I'm not sure why they did that, but it was kind of weird and scary seeing all those skulls. Like, are you going to get out of here alive? Now, the most important discovery at St. Catherine's Monastery was Codex Sinaiticus. During the 1800s, there was a big push to try to find some of the oldest manuscripts of the Bible. And there's a very interesting video called The Bible Hunters. And I recommend that. I think it's on YouTube. And it covers the people going out to different monasteries, different places, trying to find the oldest manuscripts, the oldest Bibles. And of course, St. Catherine's being the oldest continuous monastery, this would be a fantastic place to look. And Count Tischendorf went there, and sure enough, he found the oldest complete manuscript of the New Testament, called Codex Sinaiticus, of course named after Mount Sinai. And now I believe it's, I'm not sure where it is now, it was in the, I think the British Library. But this very famous manuscript. And I was disappointed. I went there and thought, well, it'd be right here, but it isn't. Count Tischendorf took it away. And it's a very important manuscript of the Bible. We wanted to come to our review of the wilderness wanderings, the route they would have taken out of Egypt here, crossing the Red Sea or Reed Sea up here near the Migdal, then coming down here to the Bitter Lakes, and then Elam, and then the wilderness of Sin, and then here right where the mountains come together by the sea camped, and then you would take the different wadis, one to Kirbet el Kedem and the other to Mount Sinai here. Finally, coming to an end here, we get a great view courtesy of NASA at nighttime. And here you can see Cairo all lit up here, the pyramids, and then you see the Bitter Lakes, and then you can come down Mount Sinai to Mount Sinai. This little dot here lit up, Mount Sinai, where they would be early in the morning climbing up Mount Sinai to see the sun rise. And further up, you can see Jerusalem here, the Dead Sea, Amman, Tel Aviv, Cyprus off in the distance, Turkey. I'll give you an idea, a very an amazing picture from NASA satellite. Also, I want to review some of the books. Here's my book, Gemstones of Aaron's Breastplate, and the Urim and Thummim. Get the revised one. Then some of the pictures and things came from the book Karnak Temple and the Bible. And then another book, Exodus from Egypt. I hope to do some more videos on this, covering the different other routes where some think they crossed here and some think they crossed up here, and why Sinai is here. And then much more detail, Ancient Israel in Sinai by James Hoffmeier. He's done an excellent work here. And I'll put these links down below, and be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, and stay tuned for some more videos. Thank you for watching.